Welcome to day 13, filtering, sorting and selecting columns using Python Pandas. On day 12, we have learned how important the Python Pandas library is for data engineering context. We use this day in day out. Let's try to understand the different functions in that. The first one is filtering, second is sorting, and third is selecting a specific columns. These three functions will focus in this particular in this particular video. First of all, let's try to create the data frames. Since this is a Databricks notebook, I tried to create the exercise and data sets here itself so that you can very easily, you don't need something else. Even if you run this notebook, you would be able to understand the functionalities. So let's run this so that our employees data frame and department data frame is created. Once the employee data frame and department data frame is created, as I mentioned in the last video itself, we can simply do a square bracket, a bracket, and within that, even if you in double quotes, if you mention the column, you can very easily check the data of the column. On the similar lines, this kind of repetition, but just bear into that, we can, if you just wanted to check the data of two columns, you just put two brackets and put the two column names here. So this way you can validate two columns here. But if you wanted to check like multiple columns, there is a special function called iloc function. That iloc function has a particular type of representation. If you give that, you would be able to evaluate or validate the data just by doing some writing some few representations. iloc selects all. In Pandas, iloc is a label-based selector. If you give right labels, it will select those columns. Used to access rows and columns by their names rather than index numbers. So what we'll do here is simple. We'll every data frame has has this property, or rather we can call this function out. So therefore employee df.ilog can be written like that, and to that we put a representation here. What does this represent? It select all the rows and only second and fourth column is selected. The columns for ilog comes like this. Let me, so the column index goes like this: 0, 1, 2 and 3. So if you ask for first and third, it means you are asking for second and fourth column. If you put like, just simply put 2 here, this is the old result actually. Let me run this through, and in the old result I was trying that out. Let's put all the columns first. Okay, let's put this out. So now you are able to see all the four columns: 0, 1, 2, 3. Now you can simply say that I just wanted to check employee ID and department ID. I just wanted to check the ID columns. So that also possible. You want 0th and second column. Let's represent this, and you will see only employee ID and department ID column like this. So iloc is much easier to represent. Instead of writing the column names and all, it is much easier to say that okay, give me this much of a number of column and give me all the rows. Even if you give here, like you can see, right, 0 to 4, it's a representation start from 0. So if you give like 0 to 2, you will only get in everything less than 2, 0 to 2. If you give like, just let me give 2 to 5, let us try it out. Okay, 2 to 5, 2, 3 and 5. So this way it is represented. Moving to next, filtering rows like SQL. We have seen in earlier part as well, but let's again do this. Uh, we are taking one column. Just let's check this column out, and we are taking this column called salary. We are able to see the data of the salary. Now let's just simply filter this out. The reason why we are learning all these things is in the end we are going to combine it. Let's complicate the filter condition more by adding an AND condition to it. So this is a complex filter. Okay. So where we are saying that employee DF salary is greater than 9,000 and we have added an ampersand, that is and employee DF department is equal to 10. So only from department 10 whose salary is greater than 9,000, just uh, give me those in the filter data frame. We can see that only department 10 values are coming and whose salaries are greater than 9,000 are represented. For filtering, there are some more inbuilt functions which are available, that is in. Let's say if you just wanted to filter out on two departments, that is 10 and 30, we can do that as well. With isin function, you can do that. Like employee DF, you select the column and to that column you say that column values for is in should be between 10 and 30 should be selected. Okay, then we are checking the another filter another flavor of filter function, which is like checking the strings. Okay, so sometime there might be a condition that you just wanted to know the employee names whose name starts with R, correct? So we just select that column and then we put a condition called starts with R and just filter out those names, Raj, Rohan and Raj, like this. So these are different flavors of filters that we have seen. First of all, we have seen like simple filters where you just put a simple condition of greater than certain values for a column. Then you start complicating it more by putting ampersand or and condition, and then using some of the inbuilt function like is in, or some of the string functions like start with. So these string functions are also possible. What Python Pandas internally would do is it would run the starts with function on all the rows of employee DF, employee DF column employee name. If the Python Pandas would not have been there, you would have to create a pointer and iterate over it. That would take time. So this is a better way of dealing with the data sets, and that's why pandas play a very important role. Moving to third type that we are going to learn in this video is sorting, like a SQL order by. Correct. So we may want to sort out the salaries uh, in an ascending order, like in a sorry, in a descending order with the highest salary at the top. That we can very easily do with a function called sort values. Just you need to pass on the column and whether you want an ascending true or ascending false. That way you can very easily sort out the salaries of employees and then you can get the sorted data frame. On the similar lines, you can sort out on the multiple columns as well. You just need to pass the column names in an array, and whatever representation true or false you want to pass, you need to pass it as an ascending array. So this is the beauty of pandas. This is how you can select a column after filter. You can use, there is a function called lock where you can give the condition, filter condition first, and then say that okay, I just want to see employee name and salary. This is selecting columns after the filters. Merge function we have seen in the last video. It is used for joining. So employee DF, that is employee table, is getting joined with department table on column called department ID, and the kind of join that we are doing is a left join. Once that is done, a merge data frame is created, and for that merge data frame We are saying that only give the data for which the department name is sales. That data is then captured in filtered df and printed out. This is the most important thing, that is chaining the function. Chaining is a very important functionality for data engineers. What we generally do is we take a data frame and then we give chain of events that should happen with the data set. Generally it's not just about one event that happen, we have to make it happen in a sequence. How we have done here is we are taking one data frame called employee df, and to that we are first applying a filter by using a function called query. Then you are applying sorting by using a function called sort values, and then you are selecting only specific columns. This is called the chaining operation. The operations happen in a sequence. First, the data is filtered, then sorted, and then finally only employee name and salaries are selected. Let's run this and you will be able to see only a specific set of data set, which is a resultant data set. So what all things we learned today? We learned um, we learned we learned filtering. We started with the basic filtering and then moved slowly towards some of the advanced sort of filtering, where we put the conditional statements, logical conditional statements, some of the complex conditions, so that the filtering can be made as per the business logic. We have seen some of the functions like is in, which are inbuilt function of Python pandas. Then we have also seen some of the string function that can be applied on a string columns, where we can apply like starts with, ends with, those type of things can be applied. And then we have seen how we can use the sorting functions, sort values, correct. After that we have also understood some of the chaining, how the chaining of data frame happens. And chaining plays a very important role in data engineering concepts, where we chain the events and make the events happen in a sequence on a data frame to get the resultant data frame. This is about the pandas day 2. On day 3 we are going to learn about group by aggregation and join and merge in details. Thank you for listening. Thanks.